and welcome to Confused Reviews, where Cartoon Drawing reviews movies. And today, I've decided that I'm going to review... What the hell?
Haha, finally, I'm back.
Freddy? What do you want?
I want you to do something for me.
If it's to review something, no deal. And hey, why are you in the shadows?
I still look like Jackie Earl Haley.
In that case, stay there.
Now, you're going to review the one.
No, not that one.
Yes.
No, not...
Freddy's Revenge. Ha 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 ha.
Fine, just go away.
Anything for you. Just get to reviewing.
Today, I'm going to tackle one of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, and after a few influences, I've decided to tackle the first of the Freddy sequels, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Freddy's Revenge was released but a year after the original, and came out and made quite the stir in the horror industry. No more will a silent, masked killer be the only threat. Now, a joking, terrifying burn victim with a fedora and a Christmas sweater haunts your dreams. Literally, and just in the movies. People were really scared of this guy. And again, the original Nightmare on Elm Street was a huge hit with audiences, and a year later, we got more from Freddy Krueger. Wes Craven also never intended there to be a sequel for Freddy. The ending we got wasn't even the first choice, and what he wanted was changed to be an open-ended movie with a possibility of sequels, and boy did we get sequels. Merchandise and other stuff. And the reason I was reluctant to review this movie is because it's so weird. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the homoerotic subtext, and it makes for a weird fucking movie. Sure, Freddy's Dead and the 2010 remake are worse movies, but the decisions made in this one are baffling, and let me assure you, it's gonna be a weird episode. Let's just dive into the sequel and see if it's really that bad, or it's actually an underrated slasher flick. This is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. So the film begins with the title literally cutting into frame and then turning into the Terminator, Freddy Edition. Oh, and fun fact, look, it's Robert Englund, who you almost undeniably know as Freddy Krueger himself. We then see Jesse, played by Mark Patton, looking rather emo today. Anyways, Clark Griswold must be driving because they decide to go off-roading unexpectedly into the desert. After driving around for what feels like an eternity, they end up stuck on some pillars of rocks after the ground caves in. Freddy slowly approaches, and we cut to one of the scariest things ever. Tomatoes.
Alex slammed the toilet seat down on his thing again.
Jeez, did I really just make a Home Alone 3 joke? Anyways, Jesse awakens like most straight teenage boys do, covered in sweat and gasping for air. Gross. He heads downstairs to see his family eating everyone's favorite breakfast cereal, Fu Manchus. They even came out with some obvious bit of symbolism. Wonder whose fingers those are supposed to remind you of. Jesse rushes out of the house because he doesn't feel like wasting a lot of the time before he has another horrifying nightmare, and we meet Lisa, played by Kim Myers. No, that joke would be way too easy. She is in Hellraiser 4, so that's something. He heads to school and whoa, who the hell designed this school? Basketball, soccer, and fucking archery, all in like 20 feet from each other. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how Bill died in Friday the 13th. Archery negligence is a plague on our nation. On the baseball portion of the dirt field, Ron Grady, played by Robert Rusler, steps up to the plate and hits Jesse right in the face. Maybe that's where Andy Samberg gets it from. Oh my god, an Adam Sandler joke and a Home Alone 3 joke all in one episode. This movie is weird.
Ha 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 ha. Suffer through this.
We also meet Coach Snyder, played by Marshall Bell, who basically tells Jesse to stop being a pussy. The two then get into a fight, and Schneider makes the two do push-ups. That's called American punishment if I ever saw it. After they stop, Grady tells Jesse the same shit they do in all these sequels. People got killed on Elm Street by some guy, blah blah, you all know it, I know it, so let's just move on. Jesse gets up from his slumber, wearing scrubs, and opens the fridge just to have a jar of piss shatter on the ground. Where was that placed in the fridge where any movement of the door would make it shatter like that? His dumbass sister probably put it in the fridge like this. He looks out the window and sees someone lurking outside, and instead of calling the police, telling his parents, or just yelling until he goes away, he goes right outside, hoping it's E.T. or some shit. He looks to see Freddy using the outside backyard furnace, you know, the thing we all have. And he just walks back inside like it's a normal, everyday thing. He looks in the basement and, oh look, it's the broom Freddy uses in Freddy's Dead to become the Wicked Witch.
Let's not talk about that one.
He tries to run off and runs into Freddy, and they finally communicate. We also see Freddy's rocking some red eyes, which is weird because in the first and later sequels, it's Robert Englund's natural eye color of green. Or in Freddy vs. Jason, where they're shown to be just bloodshot eyes with 2 black dots. So why are they red all of a sudden? Man, I'm spending way too much time on a fictional dream killer's eye color, so let's just move on. Anyways, he says he needs Jesse and rips his head apart, saying,
You've got the body. I've got the brain.
Hey, Freddy, why'd you do that to him? Like, it has no purpose.
Yeah, but it looks cool.
You're right. The next day, while continuing to look like Ace Ventura, he dozes off and is woken by a snake wrapped around his neck. The teacher then tells him,
If you want to play with animals, Mr. Walsh, join the circus.
Boom. Roasted.
Man, that was funny. Good one. And we arrive to one of the creepiest scenes in horror history. It has it all. Douchebag sunglasses, using a butt to close a drawer, phallic imagery, and your mom and girlfriend barging in whenever they please. Terrifying. Well, this scene is interesting, and is one of the many instances of homoerotic undertones in this movie. But my biggest question is, why? Why is it in here? Is it because Mark Patton, Jesse's actor, would later come out as gay? Is it trying to convey a message that homosexuality is bad and should be bottled up and kept a secret? It's honestly a mindfuck, because it goes from 4 teens being terrorized by a demon killer to a secretly gay teenager being terrorized by a demon killer, which could also be a metaphor for his sexuality. Man, and we haven't even gotten to the shower scene yet. Lisa begins snooping around the room and finds the conveniently placed diary of one Nancy Thompson. More puzzle pieces fall into place, and we're right back to where Jesse's sleeping. Goody. He then realizes they really need to fix the AC because of all of his stuff is literally melting in front of him. Ooh, like that one melting clocks painting. He heads downstairs and finds Krueger's glove in the furnace. He then tells him to try it on and throws it down. He then tries to run and falls, and it ends up next to him. Come on, that's not scary. I mean... After another day at school, we cut back to the family, and it turns out to be 97 degrees. Their bird then flies around angrily and explodes. Well, that was weird. Then another totally rational thing happens. His dishes get struck by lightning. That incident then prompts him to leave and, as expected, heads to a gay bar. His drink is quickly stopped by none other than Coach Snyder, who makes him go back to the gym and run laps. That makes no sense. If you run into your history teacher at a bar, he can't make you go back to school and ratify the Constitution. Pretty sure shit like that is illegal, and against school rules. Jesse hits the shower, and suddenly all of the sports equipment begins to fly off the shelves, which sounds like the work of a ghost. But I digress. Schneider's then dragged by jump ropes into the showers, whipped on his bare ass, sliced up by Freddy, and then dies. Well, that's what you get for being a negligent dad in Stand By Me. Also, that scene was really something, if you think about it. Police then return Jesse, saying he was naked on the highway. The next morning, Jesse keeps denying that anything is wrong and that he's fine. Again, probably more allegories to denying homosexuality and him bottling up and hiding it from his parents. And them saying he needs therapy to help him. This movie's fucking weird.
What that boy needs is good goddamn in a butt. That's what he needs.
God, I'm horrible. Jesse and Lisa drive to Freddy's old boiler room because movie. They find an old rusty locker and decide to open it because they're characters in a horror movie, and characters in horror movies do stupid shit. There's obviously nothing but a rat in it. Why would there be Freddy? There's still a lot of this movie left. We then get this weird POV Evil Dead-like shot of Freddy, or Jesse, going through the house. He ends up in his sister's room, and oh yeah, more Freddy's glove shit. Next. He starts to be an asshole to Grady, and we cut to Lisa's party. Jesse, being the massive buzzkill he is, decides to leave the party. Why? What else do you have going on tonight, Jesse? The two then start making out on the floor, but he fucks it up by growing a big black slug tongue, and he splits. Which I'm sure could have made an argument that it represents more of the undertones, but personally I'm just going to say it was a lazy cop-out to get more Freddy in the movie. Jesse then leaves a horny girl to go spend the night with another guy. These undertones are at their peak. Grady lets him stay the night and he falls asleep, but it suddenly happens.
It's starting to happen again!
Constipation? Then, in a wicked transformation, knives start to come out of Jesse's fingers and his skin rips to expose Freddy's sweater. Cool. Then Freddy's head pops out of Jesse and he slices it open, finally revealing Freddy in decent light for the first time in the whole movie. Rod beats on the door as his dad from Ferris Bueller's Day Off tries to open the door. He, unfortunately, is killed by Freddy, and we turn back to see Jesse covered in blood wearing the glove. Well, Jesse, you're fucked. The party then starts to go haywire. Beers spraying everywhere, locks locking by themselves, and Freddy chasing Lisa around. It's also known as Mardi Gras. He then breaks some dishes.
Yeah, fuck your dishes, bitch.
Freddy vanishes and eventually returns by busting through the pool's floor. Or in other words, it's go time. Then the pool catches on fire. Wait, what? Imagine the phone call to the police for this.
911, what's your emergency?
Yes, my pool is on fire.
Did you say on fire?
Yes.
Sir, please stop doing drugs.
Oh, and some idiot tries to reason with Freddy. Doesn't go so well.
Help yourself, fucker!
We also get this gem of a line. Like, seriously, one of my favorite lines from the whole series.
You are all my children now!
Lisa, who is somehow remaining remarkably calm, heads to the factory again. She then finds 2 dogs with Rod and Schneider's face on them, which doesn't make much sense and also looks awful. So let's just move on and never talk about them ever again. She eventually finds herself face to face with Freddy, and in what is probably the weakest thing about this movie, defeats him with...
Say it.
I don't want to.
Say it.
Please don't make me.
Say it!
She defeats him with the power of love.
Good.
And it's not even the Huey Lewis style. At least his face melting looks cool, so at least there's something. He then tears out of Freddy's corpse and we cut to black. But before we end this movie, we gotta have a twist. Freddy's still alive and his hand rips out of Carrie. And with that, we never see any of these characters again. And that was A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, and it was... something. It's hard to summarize this movie, to be honest with you. Jesse moves into 1428 Elm, Freddy shows up, kills 2 people, gets kissed, and dies. That's it. But there are a few things to enjoy in this movie. Most of the performances are good. Most, and I mean most, of the effects are fine. The concept itself, being consumed by an evil entity, is a great concept, but wasn't right for Freddy Krueger in the Elm Street formula. Plus the odd, out-of-place homoerotic subtext is really weird and also kind of out of place. I have no problem with it, it's just a weird thing to put into an 80s slasher flick. And being that it is the first of the Elm Street sequels, I applaud them for trying something new, but again, it wasn't right for it. Thankfully, this could have been a lot worse, and isn't the worst of the Elm Street sequels, or even the worst Elm Street movie. Overall, this movie has some good things and some bad, but it still has that 80s charm that made it enjoyable and a funnish movie to watch. I'd recommend to horror fans, Elm Street fans, and even fans of gay movies. But if you're just getting into the Elm Street movies, skip over this one completely, cause it's very odd. I'm going to give A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, a C, because in all honesty, it's weird, creepy, and at times uncomfortable, but still kind of enjoyable, if that makes any sense. There, I'm done. Now, leave me alone.
Ha 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 ha, no. You don't get off that easily. Next up, Dream Warriors. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, cool. I love that one.
Shit.